It's working.
What can we say? We really like to make an entrance, and we just wanted to make sure everyone had time to, you know, get a snack, cuddle up, get ready for our return.
Apparently it helps to, you know, update your Periscope every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being patient.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us for the Helen and Jaxon show. We've
Now
missed
with
you.
robots.
Now with robots, featuring robots. They actually come with the broadcast. You're welcome. Join us.
They're gonna creep over.
It looks like I'm tandem wearing a robot. We have a special show today.
We do.
What we lack in color and chroma, we make up for in epic wraps today.
We're going all natty.
We're going natty. Natty. All right, so we've got 3 amazing wraps today. What do we have, Natasha?
So we are going to see if Jaxon will eat a cookie.
Not first?
No,
First
he's
things
gonna
first.
the cup. He's intent on wasting apple juice all down the wrap. Like,
Yeah.
it's his life mission right now.
Yeah, he's trying to show the people that even a wool silk blend can be for everyday occasions, nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. Okay.
Just pour some apple juice on it. It's
I
fine. It's fine.
Okay, I gotta give him juice, or else nobody's gonna hear anything today.
In Helen and Jaxon's defense, they've been waiting quite a while for this. So we have 3 amazing wraps. We have the fabulous Lovebirds, love of my life, apple of my eye. Let's just take a minute while Jaxon is loading up on some juice and just take a look at that shine. Look at that shine. Look at the treat.
Okay. Juice has been handled.
It's really an amazing wrap. We're comparing, that's nice. We're comparing today Acanthus and Dove to the new and amazing Phases of the Moon.
Which we know I cannot stop talking about this thing.
Everyone's pictures are amazing. It is gorgeous. It looks so luxurious.
So my favorite, I'm like a mess because Jaxon's leaning to one side. My favorite description thus far has been from Kathy, who compared it to the liquid Terminator that could just like melt down and then like turn itself into other things. That's this wrap. That was my favorite one.
So tell us about its wrapping qualities.
So this is soapy, soapy, but not like slippy. It has a little bit of grip to it. It's got some bounce. Pillows on your shoulders.
Look at those shoulders.
Look at that.
It looks so cushy.
That's a good shoulder.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. So, as far as like size for this wrap, how do you feel like it shines? This is a size 7.
This is a 6.
Oh, 6. Okay.
And which is mostly base. So I like it in a base. This makes a beautiful chest pass, but it does a really good job of holding a slip knot. So it would also rock in a shorty, because everything that I shorty carry, I slip knot. Why not?
Yeah, totally. What about stretch?
This has stretch, but not stretch that turns into sag. So just
it's like a really solid
stretch. You get it where it's going, and then it's gonna stay there.
Nice.
It's amazing.
It's so gorgeous, and I love what a chameleon it is color-wise. Like, it has this kind of goldy hue.
It does.
But then it also feels like very like this like really pretty heather gray too.
Of course you're not holding this.
It's really
okay, so let's see if he will cooperate so that we can. What is this? Who are you? Stowaway.
Hey.
So here, if I hold it back some, you can kind of see how it shines in the light. He is like a mess. He's about to get kicked off of the Helen and Jaxon show.
Booted back to the green room.
Do I dare give you M&Ms?
So I think the quality that shines to me that all 3 of these wraps have in common is that they're super soapy. They're all
Yes.
really soapy. And like what I think of when I think of that term, which we would describe, because I know it's a term that like some people struggle with, and how I think of it is what I've been told, which is imagining like rubbing your hand across like a dry bar of soap. That kind of like really, it almost feels like slightly damp when you rub your hand across it, is what I think of when I think of soapy. And the opposite of that will be dry. So for me, when I think like really dry, I would think like an old school unmercerized bathroom, like steel or onyx or clay, which are unmercerized and super, super dry and almost feel like it's like kind of taking the moisture from your hand when you rub your hand across it. And this would be the opposite of that. They kind of feel like they have moisture like built right in.
Oh, so cushy.
Yeah.
Squeeze.
So
Look at that.
Oh, man.
it's
That's my favorite thing.
so pretty.
So,
Really pretty.
so this has been, when I touched it even before I washed it, I was like, oh, this reminds me of everybody's favorite Acanthus. So I'm going to grab that so that we can see the three of these together. Because I feel like these,
They're like cousins.
they are.
They're like cousins to each other. They're friends. They like each other. They're slightly different.
But
They all have differences, but all amazing.
So there's Acanthus.
So here's the beautiful, glorious Miss Acanthus.
So,
This lady, This is, of course, Natty Parterre. Okay?
oh, look at
And
that.
I know, that's amazing. So Acanthus itself, super, super thin, but dense.
Dense, very
Really dense.
Yes.
So it's got that really, like this is the wrap I think of when I think of recoil.
Yes.
When people say recoil, Acanthus. Acanthus is what is recoil. That
Yes.
feeling of like that really strong stretch that when you're wrapping a chest pass, you like pull it tight and then you feel it like suck back in on you. That's Acanthus. That's recoil, right? Okay, so let's compare Acanthus to phases of the moon.
So Acanthus is actually drier
You
than,
think?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And this Acanthus probably still is not fully broken in.
No.
Right? So it probably gets, I do think that some wraps that lean soapy, like Acanthus, get more soapy as they break in. I know Dove has gotten a lot soapier as it's
Yeah,
broken in.
that's a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, this does feel like a little bit drier compared to some of the Acanthi I felt. But yeah, like comparing these two,
Yeah.
it's nice just patting your shoulder.
Just, you know,
Oh, down goes camera.
Helen's made quite a mess back there.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. Back here, a lot of detritus.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so slightly drier.
And so this is not broken in at all. So
Right, good point. Yeah.
it's gonna get even like soapier.
Acanthus is thinner in hand.
It is.
Yeah. And Phase of the Moon cushier.
Definitely.
Cushier, more like memory foamy.
Yep.
Which is like, Acanthus is like on the flatter side.
It
It's
is.
not like what I would call cushy at all.
No, I don't
Yeah.
consider it.
No, me neither. But because of that really solid stretch, it still feels really good. I think sometimes people like only equate comfortable on shoulders with cush,
Yeah.
which I disagree with. Like I think maybe it can be more forgiving,
Oh,
but or like, you know, maybe I want a cushier wrap necessarily for like a shorty ruck for like a bigger kid, but I don't think I don't think cush necessarily equates to comfort for me.
No, definitely not where Acanthus is
Yeah,
concerned.
for sure.
All right.
Okay, other comparisons between Acanthus and Phase of the Moon?
Let's see. Similar stretch. We talked about that. I think that feeling, the recoil that we talked about is what originally led me to be like, oh, this is kind of Acanthus-like.
And I've heard like some people, I've been kind of out of the loop for a little bit, but I've heard some people ask, I think just because of like the design, Phase of the Moon similarities to Luna. And I haven't had a ton of experience, I haven't had much experience, actually, by not much I'm saying, I haven't wrapped it all with Phase of the Moon. But in hand, it feels to me like Luna felt pretty soft, like not a ton of stretch to me, especially compared to like Zebra 2.0.
Yeah.
Way less stretch than that. Phase of the Moon feels like it has a lot more stretch kind of recoil than Luna did.
Yeah.
To me. Yeah?
And it's kind of, I feel like it's, what am I trying to say about Luna? That this has like a little bit of texture to it just because of the different like areas.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Luna was, I felt like because the circles were so big,
Yeah.
that it didn't have as much texture.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's has because of like the weave, the actual like weave design of Phase of the Moon, it seems like it feels a lot more grip in hands for sure. So Acanthus to Dove. I will say that let me get color there. The color is very, very similar. It's hard for me to show you because let me just arrange myself here. Color-wise, they're really, really similar. They're not that kind of optic white. They're super creamy, like that really creamy white between Acanthus and Dove. Dove is different than the colored Lovebirds. It's a flatter weave. It's not as textured. It's flatter and denser, and to me has more stretch and recoil than colored
feels so
Lovebirds.
different than the colored Lovebird.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, it's more similar to the sample colors. Like I've tried turquoise, which was gorgeous, and it wraps more similar to me than like to the samples because those also have that flatter, denser weave.
Yeah.
But it's still different. It's different because of those natty qualities. It's soapier. And I think just breaks into be such a puddle. This was like actually a little beastly at first. I tried one very early on, and it was, you had to like really put in some muscle.
I wonder how broken in color
but it's so...
Because I had Peridot briefly, but it wasn't broken in.
I had a Sargasso C that was that I've had a lot of colored Lovebirds. 5, I think. I think I've had 5. Sapphire 3 times, Sakura once. Oh no, because I had Sargasso C twice. So, okay, so 6. Whatever. Who's counting? And then Dove twice. So for me, like I had one Sargasso C that was the most broken in Lovebirds I've had by far of any, and it was incredibly soft. But it's still
textured. Like I feel like Peridot, like it was like more raised.
Yeah, it's still like more. It's more textured and has more like it's more lofty, more cushy. Yeah. Whereas this is that flatter weave. Yeah. Regardless, I think of how broken in.
Okay.
Right, and I think it's that like kind of flatness and density and soapy quality, plus like really nice recoil. You know, like you can get a really nice recoil chest pass in Dove, and I think that those qualities are why people kind of compare it to Acanthus.
I can see that. I did rap with that briefly. Loved it. I was like, Jaxon, let's try it. Let's like it, but let's not buy it.
Famous last words.
That's how that goes.
Any questions?
Let's get some side by side.
Oh yeah,
Jaxon is distracted. Mm-hmm. All right, so this lovely next to Acanthus.
I'm gonna hold one up for you.
How does Dove and Phases compare? Or am I late to the party? Did we compare?
I don't know if we directly did compare these two.
We didn't, but we can do it now really quickly.
That's interesting. You know, the thickness and kind of like in hand, the thickness feels very similar to me. Yeah. Really similar. When I take them and kind of squeeze them hand by hand, Dove still feels a little flatter, and Phases still feels more of that memory foamy cush.
Yeah, cush.
More so. Like I get
this
more.
has more cush.
Yeah, like when I squeeze it, you can see it kind of bouncing back. Whereas with Dove, it just doesn't as much. Doesn't have that kind of foamy quality that Phases have, which is what reminds me to Luna. Yeah. Of this because of that like memory foamness, which I totally think of when I think of Luna.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's just kind of like.
So
that I would say.
What we're saying is, if you like the qualities of Dove, you are gonna love Phases of the Moon.
Yeah.
Because it's that plus Kush.
I think Dove feels like a tiny bit soapier. Because I think phases, and maybe phases will get more there, but I think those textured areas, like the gray areas on phases are a little bit more texture, that kind of heather gray area. And that area is a little bit drier to me.
Yeah.
This area than in here.
Yeah, because like this area of birds is soapier than like in between, but there's large areas of this. So I think that's what makes it. We'll show you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So we're talking about. Where are they?
Where are they? Okay, so
these areas are the soapy ones on
where there are floats, like the float areas.
And then these
are really
drier. But this is a large area of the wrap.
Right.
So
and I
that's
still
why you
find
get that
these flatter
soapy
areas still pretty soapy, drier than the rest, but they're still pretty. Actually, like really, this is, I'm going to start alienating myself here from the general public, but I really love just like sitting around and rubbing these little flat areas. It's like, this is how I soothe myself.
So you're self-soothing.
Yeah.
So an adult pacifier.
Yeah, totally.
Rub your wrap. Oh gosh, look at that. So yeah, there's a close-up of moon. There's the moon for you. Totally, Jay.
So pretty.
And then we'll give you a close-up of this.
Ugh.
So,
they all have that really beautiful shine.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that you really get in a lot of like a natty wrap that doesn't have that optic white fill, like that real natural fiber that we're talking about when we have a true natty. There's like a shine that I just think doesn't exist once fiber is like dyed as much. Like you just can't. That shine is remarkable. Gorgeous. All right.
So that is it. Any other questions? I think we compared them all now. So what you're saying is I need all three, probably.
Oh, totally. Yeah. What we're saying is
if this is if these wrapping quality,
he's like judging us. She's like. So yeah, basically.
If you love these wrapping qualities, you can't go wrong with any of these.
But at the same time, like they absolutely have. They're not. None of them wrap the same.
Yeah, they're not
all identical. Different enough that, of course, like there's room for all three. For everything. Obviously. But yes, if you like one, I think that you will find enough similarities that you would like them all. But definitely do not wrap the same at all.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you. We're on schedule for the second Thursday of the month. At
11:30.
11:30. 11:30. All right, unless you want to join us actually in our class. All right. Bye.
Helen, say bye.
Say bye. Bye.
Helen's like, what do you want from me? Look, angry little
guy.
She's got
food all over herself. Okay, yeah, it matches Helen's face. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.